and your body starts to change before you even notice it. Your eyes adjust, your muscles loosen. Something ancient inside your brain quietly switches on. For most of human history, night was not empty time. It was not just a pause button between one busy day and the next. It was a second life, a different world, with its own rules, its own dangers, and its own strange comforts. So what did ancient humans actually do once the sun disappeared? Did they simply collapse into sleep the moment it got dark? The truth is stranger and more interesting than that. Start with fire. Fire changed everything about the human night. Before controlled fire, darkness meant danger. Predators moved. Vision failed. The safest thing a small, slow, clawless primate could do was disappear into a shelter and stay still. But once early humans learned to keep flames burning after sunset, something remarkable happened. Night stopped being empty dead time. It became social time. Anthropologist Polly Wisner studied this directly. She spent years living with and recording the Juhuansissan people of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last hunter-gatherer societies on Earth. She compared what people talked about during the day versus what they talked about at night around the fire. During the day, conversation was practical. Complaints, gossip, arguments about who did what. At night, everything shifted. Stories took over. Myths, histories, jokes that made the whole group laugh. Tales about distant relatives, ancestors, animals with human personalities. Firelight, it turns out, does something to the human mind. It relaxes hierarchy. It softens tension. People who argued at noon might be laughing together by midnight. This was not an accident. This was the birthplace of storytelling itself. Now picture the scene. Orange flames throwing shadows against rock walls. A small group sitting close, knees almost touching, faces lit from below. An elder speaking slowly, letting silence stretch before the punchline. Children half asleep against their mother's side, still listening. Eventually, this happened, in some form, almost every single night, for tens of thousands of years, before written language, before agriculture, before cities. This was how humans passed down knowledge that kept the group alive, which plants were poison, which paths were safe, which animals to fear. But storytelling was only part of the night. There was also watching. Darkness meant predators. Lions, hyenas, leopards, other bands of humans looking for an easy raid. Someone had to stay alert while the rest of the group slept. This is where sleep itself gets strange. You might assume ancient humans slept the way modern humans are told to sleep. 8 straight hours, lights out, one long unbroken block. They didn't. Not exactly. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel, working out of UCLA, ran a landmark study in 2015 examining sleep patterns in 3 modern hunter-gatherer and forager horticulturalist societies, the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. These groups live without electricity, without artificial light, in conditions closer to ancestral human life than almost anywhere else on the planet today. What Siegel found surprised a lot of sleep scientists. These groups did not sleep in one long, unbroken stretch. They also did not go to bed the moment the sun set. On average, they stayed awake for several hours after sunset, sitting by the fire, and woke before sunrise. Total sleep time averaged under 6.5 hours a night. Insomnia, the modern epidemic that fuels an entire industry of pills and apps, was essentially unheard of in these groups. Nobody had a word for it. Historian A. Roger Ekirch found something related but from a completely different source. Digging through pre-industrial European diaries, court records, and medical texts, he uncovered evidence of what he called segmented sleep. People slept in 2 distinct blocks through the night, with a period of quiet wakefulness in between. This gap was not wasted time. People used it to pray, to talk quietly, to have sex, to think, to tend the fire before drifting back into a second sleep. 2 very different data sources. One modern anthropological study of living hunter-gatherers. one historical record from agricultural Europe. Both point to the same conclusion. The tightly sealed, one-block, 8-hour sleep most people chase today may not be the ancient human default at all. So let's reconstruct the night using what the evidence actually shows. The sun sinks below the horizon. The group doesn't scatter immediately. They gather closer instead, drawn toward the fire like it's still a kind of daylight. Food from the hunt is finished. Tools are repaired by firelight, a spear straightened, a hide scraped thin. Someone starts telling a story about a hunt gone wrong. Laughter breaks out. A child asks a question and gets a long, winding answer instead of a short one, because there's nowhere else to be and nothing else to do. One by one, people drift toward sleep. Not all at once. Someone stays half alert near the fire, feeding it small branches, listening for the wrong kind of silence in the dark, the kind that means something is out there. This role rotates. Different people take different shifts, whether formally agreed or simply worked out through habit. Somewhere in the middle of the night, some individuals wake, not from fear, not from stress, but naturally. They sit for a while. They might speak quietly. Then sleep returns. Before the sky fully lightens, the group is already stirring. There's no snooze button, no dread of an alarm. The body simply knows. Here's the counterintuitive twist. We tend to treat modern insomnia as a personal failure, a broken habit, a problem to be fixed with better discipline. But if segmented, lighter, socially embedded sleep really is closer to the ancestral pattern, then a huge amount of what we now call sleep disorder might actually be a mismatch between an ancient sleep architecture and a modern demand for one unbroken block, timed by a clock instead of a fire. Your ancestors were not fighting to fall asleep and stay asleep for 8 rigid hours. They were moving fluidly between rest, low alertness, and social connection, night after night, guided by darkness and firelight instead of a glowing screen. Speaking of screens, this is the modern mirror. Today, night has been flattened into something almost featureless. Artificial light lets us push bedtime later and later. Screens keep the brain stimulated with the same kind of bright light that once meant morning. Streaming another episode replaces the ancestral fire, minus the shared eye contact, minus the shared silence, minus the rotating watch that once made a small group feel safe enough to actually rest. And when sleep doesn't come easily in one clean block, many people assume something is wrong with them. But the ancestral evidence suggests the opposite might be true. Waking in the middle of the night, lying quietly for a while, then drifting back off, may not be a malfunction at all. It may be closer to the original human blueprint than the 8-hour, lights-off, uninterrupted block we've been taught to expect. None of this means you should throw out modern sleep entirely or start staying up by candlelight. But it does reframe something. That quiet hour when you can't sleep, when your mind wanders and the house is still, might not be a broken night. Might be the oldest, most human hour there is. The sun goes down, the light fades, and somewhere underneath all the noise of modern life, your body still remembers a version of the night your ancestors knew, one built not around silence and isolation, but around fire, story, and the people close enough to hear you breathing beside them.